but on every word that comes forth from the mouth of God. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus heard of the death of John the Baptist, he withdrew in a boat to a deserted place by himself. The crowds heard of this and followed him on foot from their towns. When he disembarked, he saw the vast crowd. His cart was moved with pity for them, and he cured their sick. When it was evening, the disciples approached him and said, "This is a deserted place, and it is already late. Dismiss the crowd so that they can go to the villages and buy food for themselves." And Jesus said to them, "There is no need for them to go away. Give them some food yourselves." But they said to him, 5 loaves and 2 fish are all we have here." And then he said, "Bring them here to me." And he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he said the blessing, broke the loaves, and gave them to the disciples, who in turn gave them to the crowds. They all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up the fragments left over, 12 wicker baskets full. Those who ate were about 5,000 men, not counting women and children. The Gospel of the Lord. Wow, you look at this miracle that happened here, the multiplication of the loaves. What a great event. Imagine these people who are following Jesus. Here they go out. They're not bringing their food with. They know that Jesus is some great guy. They don't understand who he is. They don't understand he's God. Maybe he's a great prophet, but he's curing the sick. So what do? They leave their homes and they follow Jesus, putting all their worries and concerns of the world behind them. They're just following him. They're just trusting in him. Wherever you lead me, Lord, I will follow you. I'll just go there. And then here you got the disciples. It's getting late. Hey, these people are famished. They need some food. Tell them to go away. Tell them to go away and get their food. You better tell them to go away and get their food, right? And what does Jesus say? No. Feed them yourselves. But now you look at what the disciples did. 5 loaves and 2 fish. Hello, 5,000 men, not counting the women and children? I mean, they give it up. They give up what they have. They trust in Jesus, right? So here, 5,000 men. Come on, what are they going to do? Lick the fish, and maybe everybody gets a chance to lick the fish. I don't know. I mean, that many people? No way. That's not going to five that many. That's probably like 10,000 total with the women and children. Wow. But they have faith in Jesus Christ. They don't shrink back. They don't let the fears or anxiety take control over them, right? Like we do. We allow our fears and anxiety to this world to control us. Maybe we worry about money. MetLife just closed up right here in town. Maybe we're fearful. Titan Tire just fired some more people and all that. And maybe we're worried about the money. Maybe we're worried about family situations, spousal situations. Maybe there's a reason for our fear. Just like there's a reason for the disciples. Hey, it's a very real thing. 5 loaves and 2 fish, humanly speaking, nothing's going to happen here, right? But we're called to that same kind of supernatural faith in Jesus Christ, to serve others, to go outside of ourselves and to love others. We could easily, as a parish community, we all know the finances aren't that great, but we could say, you know what, we need to reserve to ourselves. We need to stage to ourselves. We need to make sure we got this and we got that, and we'll only serve our own parish. But no, we don't do it because that is not what Catholics do, right? Take, for example, the food truck here. A couple of weeks ago. That's awesome. You weren't about to allow the fears control you. You went out and you loved. You see, love is offensive. It goes out and it demands that you spend yourself. In the same way, Jesus spent himself for us, giving his very last drop. Love is offensive. It goes out. When we get into that self-defensive mode, that is selfishness. We start to think about self. How can I preserve myself? So we start building up walls. When we allow those fears and anxieties to control us, we start building up walls with the relationships with the people around us, particularly in our families. That's a lot of the concerns of family members. We start building up walls because of fears and anxieties. We allow the devil to control us that way. When we look at fear in that sense, that's the devil's tool. The devil loves, and this is one of the most powerful tools the devil has, is fear. We get afraid, we shrink back, we wither to ourselves, and we keep all our anxieties to ourselves. We can't even talk to other people sometimes. But when we go out and we talk about our issues and stuff like that, we have that friend, whether it's a friend in Jesus Christ, hopefully. Sometimes we go to Jesus himself in prayer. Sometimes we go to our Blessed Mother Mary or the saints. Sometimes we go to the priest. That helps us to go outside of ourselves so that we can love others, that we can have the patience we need for other people, that we can have that gratitude, that joy. When we allow the fears to control us, there's no joy in that. Joy is absolutely gone. But when we have faith in Jesus Christ, joy starts to enter in. We start to have the wisdom of God. Wisdom can start controlling us instead of fear and anxiety. And then there's peace in the heart. So that's what we do in Jesus Christ. We follow him. We trust that he will supply all our needs. Because it's not the worldly things that is the only reality. It is the things above that can guide our realities. Do we trust him enough to trust our lives over to him so that we can let go of these things? God is always trying to communicate to you his love, his mercy, and how much he wants to be with you. He wants to live in you. Trust in that. You are a holy and sacred temple of God. Jesus said, whatever you have done unto my brethren, you have done it unto me. Your suffering is united to Jesus Christ if you allow that suffering to be united with Jesus. And then he will supply your needs. But now, when we expect God to do things in our lives, we can't just sit back and do absolutely nothing and say, okay, God, show me. No. What did the apostles do? They gave their 5 loaves and the 2 fish. They gave what they could. And then God took over and produced his miracle. If we give God what we can, the love that we can give him, because that's what we owe him. When we serve our brothers and sisters, that's our way, our means by which we can express our love to God. That's what good works is all about. And so when we give God what we can, God will multiply that. God will add his grace to it. And then we can see how the world is transformed because we took the courage and faith, that supernatural faith, to trust in him.